Hello and welcome to another video. So in this one, I'm going to be diving into all of the things that I have been loving this month. I really enjoyed making my video on my January favorites, so this is something that I want to continue doing. And if you did watch that one, thank you so much. I am in a new area of my house today that I've just finished setting up because unfortunately, even though I love to make videos in my library office room, it does get very noisy in there and I can't always do videos at any time of the day. So I've just done my usual kind of gallery wall that I've done in my other room. It's not 100% finished just yet, but I'm happy with how it's turned out so far and I will keep adding to it, so I'll come back and update you on that as well. Anyway, I'm going to dive straight into the things that I have been loving this month. So the first thing that I'll get into are the outfits that I have been wearing. So of course it is still summer here. We are at the end of it though, thank goodness. Hopefully it's going to be autumn soon. During this time of the year, I have been wearing a lot of really light clothing in fabrics like cotton and linen. I find that's really important for me to stay cool at this time of year. So this top that I'm wearing today is an item that I've had on rotation, and I've got a few other cute tops as well. I've bought all of these from the Australian online store, The Iconic. I've kind of bought on and off from them for quite some time. This top in particular is from a brand called Atmos and Here, which is an Australian brand, I believe. I've picked up a couple of items from them before and I've been happy with the quality of them, and they do some interesting styles. I picked this one because I really like the color of this, and I just really like the cut of this with the cinched waist. Another top from the same brand that I got from The Iconic is this one. It's 50% cotton and 50% linen, which is perfect for the summer. I really like the buttons on these and the cut, and also these little ties on the side are really cute as well. The last one I've got here is from a brand I've never heard of before called Cali. I bought this one because I was just looking for a vest that can be worn without anything else underneath. So the fit of this has been really good. It's just like a nice basic kind of style that I can wear with a lot of different things. In terms of bottoms, this skirt from Uniqlo has been on rotation for me for quite a long time, since the end of winter last year. Pleasantly surprised to find that it's not too hot for summer. It's a dark blue material, which is kind of nice for breaking out my all black outfits, although I do love those. The way it's kind of pleated and goes out is just really nice, and it goes with a lot of different things also. Moving on to accessories, which is always my favorite part of any outfit. I have been wearing this necklace quite a lot lately, and you'll recognize this if you're a Nana fan because it is a little replica of Ren's necklace that Nana gave him. I did pick this one up in Japan. I had a gold one as well, which I've now lost, but a lot of people ask me where I got this and I don't remember the names of the stores. This one was from Harajuku in one of the jewelry stores on the main street there, but actually quite a few places in Japan had this necklace. I guess maybe these stores are just keyed into knowing that a lot of Nana fans are going to Japan, so they're looking for these kinds of items. I was kind of worried about the material of this because I am sensitive to different materials. I think this is an alloy, so it's been okay and it's held up pretty well. For a more daintier everyday piece, I'm not sure if you can see that it is so tiny, but it says "Till Death." It is very much my everyday necklace that I can just kind of throw on an outfit, or especially if I'm going to work, because it's very subtle. And I've got a lot of items from Regal Rose. I'm lucky to work with them, but everything that I've had from them has been great. And in terms of bags, I have been using the little tartan tote that I showed in my last video that I bought from the Vivienne Westwood Rei Kawakubo exhibition. So obviously this is a Vivienne Westwood inspired piece with the tartan that she's so known for. Did mention that I was a bit worried about this because it doesn't have a shoulder strap, and I'm not really somebody who would buy a bag that doesn't have one and would just hold it like this, but actually I've really loved this and I've used it a couple of times since then. I find it fits a lot of things in it as well. I put my Tomie keychain on this, which I got in my box set from the Little Ondine makeup collaboration. Moving on to fragrances, I have 3 fragrances here that Heretic sent me. I did show them in an unboxing video and I mentioned that I was going to talk about them in my last video, but I just ran out of time. So I'm going to jump into them in this video because I really love them. So I did of course have to pick Nosferatu, and I'm going to talk about this one first because spoiler alert, and this will be no surprise, this is my favorite. I have been wanting to smell this since it came out. So my first time smelling it was when I opened up the box that Heretic sent me, and inside there was this card. My whole room just immediately smelled like this, which was just such a nice experience. Since then I've kept this card in my room, and if I have my windows closed at night, my whole room seems to smell like it, which is always nice to wake up to in the morning. And of course we have to talk about this incredible bottle with Count Orlok's seal on the top. That is just such a beautiful detail. Getting into the actual scent of this, my first thoughts when I opened this up and I smelt it properly from the bottle is that they've managed to capture the essence of that movie so perfectly. It really smells to me like what I imagined that whole movie to smell like, if that makes sense. There are notes of petrichor, so sort of like that dark rainy element, and then mixed in with the lilac, it's just really beautiful. Opening up the box, there is a really beautiful booklet in here which does dive into the scent a little bit more. The illustrations are just so lovely. It's just a really nice touch. I have worn Nosferatu maybe twice now when I've been out, and the thing about fragrances for me is that I do really like longevity, which this has, but I also don't want it to be too overpowering. That's really important. So I like a scent that is not overwhelming me throughout the day of wearing it, but if I smell myself, I can still pick it up, which I think all of these fragrances have. They seem to be really good quality. I think I'll be wearing this one a lot more during the winter month, and it's honestly my favorite fragrance that I have in my collection right now. The next fragrance I'll talk about, which was a no-brainer when it came to selecting these, is Dragon's Blood. Because as I mentioned before, I love smoky scents. I burn a lot of incense at home and I always go for Dragon's Blood. It's just my favorite. I don't know why, I just really love the smell of it. So I was really interested to smell this, and I was so pleasantly surprised when I opened it up because I think it just embodies that scent perfectly without being too overpowering. I also love how it does have that red tint, and I think the smell of this is just beautiful. I have worn this one out a couple of times as well, and I do really love the smokiness of it. And the last one I selected, which is one of their newer ones, is Haxan, which I showed in my last video because I wore this to the Wuthering Heights premiere here. As I mentioned, it does have that beautiful kind of sweet but smoky scent. And again, I think this is not too overpowering. It's got some floral kind of scents as well, which I really like. So I think it's kind of perfect for this time of year. And I think the bottle is also just so beautiful. All of their packaging is really well thought out. So a big thank you again to Heretic for sending me these incredible fragrances. When I say these are my dream fragrances, I am not exaggerating. I love them so much, and I'm so happy to have these as part of my collection and my rotation. Getting into makeup, I've got a few lip products here that I want to talk about. Actually wearing them right now. So first off, I'm wearing this very deep berry color from Laka. More of a tint, I would say. It doesn't have a lot of color. You can build it up, but I would say it's more of a tint. So I think that's perfect for me because I like to layer all of my lip products, which I've mentioned before. I've also got the Romand Black Lip Trio, which I bought online last year because I could not find it anywhere. I haven't done a very solid black lip yet, but I have used all of these just kind of blended in with other products. So first off is the little black lip pencil, and in this pack there's also the Blur Fudge lip tint. This is in the color Licorice Jelly. I would say this is maybe not as forgiving as the next product I'm going to show, so I haven't used this one as much because, as mentioned, I haven't done that full black lip yet, but I'll try to do that soon. And then the last product, which is my favorite, is the Juicy Lasting Tint. This is in the color Blackberry. I have tried the Juicy Lasting tints from Roman before. They are quite popular, and the color of this is just so interesting. For me, because I do like to have that kind of very dark berry lip color, these two have worked really well together for me, but they all also work great on their own. Moving on to the books that I have been enjoying lately. As I showed in my last video, I did read Hazelthorn this month, which was my Patreon book club read. I had never read this author before, but I'd always wanted to. Honestly, I really love this book. I ended up rating it a 4.5 out of 5. I would read this again. I think it was so beautifully written. The story was really interesting because it's set at this very mysterious manor, which feels very gothic, called Hazelthorn. The whole story behind it with these characters, which I don't really want to go into because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. It was just great. I really want to read Don't Let the Forest In next because some people have told me that's even better than this one. So I'm excited to pick that up and get into it. But honestly, I really love this book. I think if you're looking for something a bit gothic and mysterious with a botanical element as well, then you'll really enjoy this one. I am now reading a proof that was sent to me, and I don't think I've ever read a proof before, which is really exciting. This one that I am reading is Rotten Heart by Kat Dunn, and this file doesn't even have a cover on it yet, so I'm just showing it to you like this, so hopefully you can see it. This is a sapphic gender swapped reimagining of Hamlet, which just sounds incredible to me. I love Hamlet, and I also really love Kat Dunn as an author. I think she's incredible because last year I read Hungerstone, which was one of my top 5 reads of the entire year. I love this book so much. This one is a Carmilla retelling. I am always skeptical going into retellings, especially ones of my favorite books, but this was great. So I'm really keen to get into this one more. What I've read so far, I've really liked, and her writing is just as beautiful in this as it was in Hungerstone. So I'll come back once I finish this one to let you know how it goes. I do also want to talk about the games that I have been playing because I am always gaming, looking for something new. As I showed in my last video, I did end up playing Silent Hill 1 and 3. So Silent Hill 1, I couldn't even believe that I was able to play because that game is so rare to get a physical copy of. I've seen it in the wild before and they were maybe like $400 to $500, which is crazy, but it is quite an old game. And as I mentioned, it's rare. So that's why it has that price tag on it. But I discovered on my very old ancient PS3 that on the PlayStation Store, you can buy it for like $10, which was wild to me. So I had already started playing Silent Hill 3, but I decided to go back and just play Silent Hill 1 first because obviously they tie in together. And I think that was a really great idea because I loved Silent Hill 1 and it was just amazing to go back to this game that started this franchise that I love. So after I'd finished Silent Hill 1, I then jumped back to Silent Hill 3. I loved it so much, and so many people have told me that Silent Hill 3 is their favorite game out of all the Silent Hill games, and I can definitely see why. Not only do you get to play as this amazing character Heather, the story following off from 1 just kind of tied in so well. I don't know why this game just had like a very cozy feel to it for me, which may sound weird because it is a horror game and there are some pretty scary things in it. I think with the elements that I've never experienced in a Silent Hill game before, with things like the game starting in a mall and then going to her apartment and seeing her room, taking the train home. Those were just like very kind of everyday moments. If anybody else had that feeling playing it, let me know. But I really liked having that different side to these games. I actually started playing Silent Hill 3 again because I loved it so much. I honestly can't even decide right now which Silent Hill game is my favorite. I did mention that 2 was kind of a standout for me, and it definitely is at the top, but all of the Silent Hill games have been really incredible. And I'm also really excited for the new Silent Hill game that's just been announced, which I believe is going to be coming out next year. But if you are a Silent Hill fan, let me know what your favorite game is because I'd love to know. Another game that I have really been enjoying right now is Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater, and it's available on the PS5 store now, which is great because I haven't been able to find any physical copies of the Fatal Frame games. I believe they're quite expensive again, but there is a new one coming out in March, which I have already pre-ordered that I am really excited to play when it does. Maiden of Blackwater though is so much darker than I imagined it to be. Set in this very eerie Japanese mountainside area. Characters are basically trying to unravel these supernatural mysteries. But what I love most about this game is the very unique camera obscura, which ties into the title Fatal Frame, because the characters use this item to basically take photos to fend off these malevolent spirits. It works really well in this game. And as somebody who loves photography, I think this is just a brilliant idea. Of course, the outfits of the characters are so iconic, and it's something I've seen on social media a lot with people trying to recreate these horror protagonist outfits. And I would definitely wear a lot of the things that I see these characters wearing. But overall, it's just a great game. It's quite scary, which I love, and I'm really looking forward to finishing this one off. Finally, getting into the things that I have been watching lately, I did just start rewatching the anime series Trinity Blood, which I watched so long ago. I don't remember all of it, so it's been fun getting back into it. I do really love it because, of course, it's got vampires in it. I do really want to read the manga as well. I'm just trying to track down some copies at the moment because they are a little hard to find, especially in a set. I started watching this series when I got into my favorite manga and anime of all time, which is Hellsing. And actually the studio Gonzo, who did Trinity Blood, also did the original series of Hellsing. So they both have a very similar kind of animation style, which I like. It's just like very nostalgic of that time. And I really love older anime in general. Main character, Abel Nightroad from Trinity Blood, also kind of reminds me of Alucard a bit because he is a vampire who feeds on other vampires. And Alucard, although he doesn't feed on other vampires, he kills them. So kind of similar in that way as well, although their personalities are really different. So I've been really enjoying my rewatch of that at the moment. I did also recently watch the film Perfect Blue, which is a movie that I've wanted to watch for the longest time, but I finally sat down and did that, and I wish I watched it sooner because I really loved it. This one was released in '97, I believe, so it is quite old now, but it is a very iconic movie, and I think that's because of the incredible storyline. It's about this woman who is a pop idol and she decides to become an actress. And at the same time, she's dealing with a potential stalker, getting very scared, and there's a lot of psychological elements in it, which were really interesting. And the way the movie ended was pretty terrifying, which I really liked. This movie was a lot darker than I had envisioned, but I didn't expect it to be as dark as it was. There was one scene in particular I won't go into, which was kind of uncomfortable to watch, but apart from that, I really loved this movie and I would watch it again. I do understand why it is considered such an important piece of cinema. And another interesting thing about this film is that I've seen it being compared to Black Swan many times, and I really love that film. I can really see how the director of Black Swan was influenced by Perfect Blue because there are some scenes that are almost identical, which was really interesting. But yeah, I really enjoyed it and I would watch it again. I would say if you are going to watch it, definitely check out some of the trigger warnings because it is pretty dark, but it is a really good film. But that pretty much wraps up my favorites for February. If you have enjoyed any of these as well, please let me know in the comments because I always love to chat about these things. And I'd also love to know what you've been enjoying this month as well also. For things coming up, I do have my birthday coming up on the weekend. It's come up so fast, which is crazy. I don't have that much planned. I will just be spending some time with my family, but also the release of the new Resident Evil game, Requiem, does fall on my birthday weekend, which is kind of the most perfect thing ever because I can't imagine a better way to spend this weekend than getting into a game that I have just been really looking forward to. So I'm going to be picking up my pre-order for that and then just completely immersing myself in Raccoon City and spending time with Leon Kennedy. But thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.